Hello, this is going to be the second kind of series that I do for the speedrun guide. This one's going to be a lot more focused on the book percent route. So, I am going to do the same thing I did with the other ones. I'm going to split it into chapters. So, chapter 1 will have its own, 2 and 3 will have their own, and then 4 and 5, once again, are going to have one video just because of the length. That being said, I'm going to start this early because everyone, assuming, at least based on the results that were posted in the Discord, wanted to see the books actually getting picked up. The downside of that is I now have to find stuff to talk about for 2 minutes and 45 seconds. But, in general, when it comes to books and book percent comparative to cutscene, the books are going to fall into one of a few different categories. There's going to be like the 1 or 2 that you're pretty much going to pick up on, even in a cutscene percent. Trophy Room's the first one that comes to mind because that is an automatic pickup. The next kind of book is going to be one that's doesn't really change the room, but isn't too far out of the way. The third type's going to be, again, room strat doesn't change. It's just you kind of have to go a little bit underneath the book. And then there's going to be rooms where the book causes the room strategy to massively or to a decent extent change how the room plays. And I will kind of go over, I'll go over each room and kind of just see how things go. That way you guys know how to incorporate picking up the books with the speedrunning aspect. So, I do appreciate all of the attention that the first series got, which was the new game, cutscenes, strats, things like that. As well, the nice thing I will say is this is going to be able to show, this is a new file. I will be able to show off a couple things that are exclusive to the cutscene percent scenario, or any scenario that starts from a brand new file. So, that being said, we just need to get through this cutscene. I've got about 45 seconds left, so that door shuts at about the 2-minute or 58 mark in the speedrun. If you're doing a full game run, I believe this text box shows up about 2 minutes roughly. But in general, none of the books in Chapter 1 are going to be difficult. Again, it's Chapter 1, it's kind of the same scenario it was in the last time we did this. It's very much tutorial level. They don't really start hiding things, they don't really start making things complicated. Chapter 2 kind of has a little bit of complication. Chapter 3 gets a little complicated. 4 and 5 aren't too bad. But, cutscene's done. Let's get going. So if you remember last time, the normal cutscene percent is to go straight forward, see how those two in front of me line up. You're going to want to do that exact same thing. So I'm going to go right here. I got both. At this point, you want to head to the book. You want to melee right before it, because, again, your hitbox can change. Actually, your activation box, I should say, will actually slightly increase. So if you melee, you're able to pick the book up, because you only need to touch the edge of the book. You do not need to be picking up the center of the book. But once you pick the book up, it's just standard and standard cutscene percent. Nothing really changes here. Let's see how nice this one's to be. I want to see if I got the ladder spot here. See if I can get that cancellation again. I think I did, because there's an audio. Usually audio attached to it. And nope. But that's fine. Alright. Trophy Room. This is going to be... So, Grand Hallway is one of the rooms where it's cutscene percent, but you gotta go a little bit up. This room, if you play on a brand new file, 100 book, cutscene, pretty much anything that requires you to start from a new file, you're gonna pick this book up. There's about usually 4, I can think of 4 rooms where in a normal speedrun you would pick up the book. One thing I will say is if you are running something that does not require you to pick up books, do not pick up the books. Specifically, don't pick up more than 4. If you end up picking up a 5th, you will get a custom text box. That does lose a little bit of time. But we're in the category where we have to pick up all the books. So that's what we're going to do. I think I might be okay to not get hit with 4 scares here. I'm not entirely sure. We'll have to kind of wait and see. But yeah, the book in this one's just going to be at the end of the room. You automatically pick it up. Pretty much every new file you play, you're going to pick this book up. And that's just going to be that. So, for that, we're going to move on to billiards. Billiards is going to be a kind of a similar situation as the Grand Hallway. You're going to kind of go a little out of the way, but nothing crazy. So normally what we would do is you would just book it right to the door because there's no challenge here. Instead, what you want to do, you want to get to this text, you want to hang a left. Just ride this, and again, don't need to be too far on top of the book to pick it up. You just need to be in the activation box of the book. So go along left side, grab the text box, go towards the couch, grab the book, and leave the room. So again, it's kind of like Grand Hallway. There's not a whole lot of crazy stuff going on. Gaming room is, again, we're kind of looking at the same thing, and my controller just decided to disconnect. That's great. Let's not do that again. That would be wonderful. Gaming room is going to be kind of in a similar situation as everything but trophy. It's in the way, but it's not in the way. So you kind of gotta go a little bit out of the ways to get it, but again, it's not a situation where you have to go super far out of your way. There is kind of a different strat that you can go for, or that is a little inconsistent, and I'm not sure how it works out timing-wise. But I'll go ahead and show that off just in case. So what you're going to do, normally you'd go straight for the key. You're going to want to come around this table, head to the book and the chair. You can grab the TV, and if you can line it up correctly, you can throw it, and then from here you can basically straight shot yourself into the door. Like I said, I don't exactly know what the timing is and how that works, but that is a viable option should you want to go that route. Back to the billiard, you see the room book right in front of you. This is going to be a room where absolutely nothing's going to change. You're just going to hold right. It's going to automatically pick up. This will be that text box I was talking about that you want to avoid if you're not doing anything involving a book collection run. After this, the room stays exactly the same. So it's going to be the same billiard room strat. You're still going to get the trophy to knock down the first 3, and then the table to kill the remaining 5. So let's get that done and go from there. Let's see if I can get this right. Great. Nope. There we go. Ah. And that's it normal, just wait for everyone to kind of crowd around, and then swing a table. I think I got it. Cool. So, yeah, the book is very much before you do anything in the room. Just remember to go, basically just touch that grandfather clockwork as you go in, and you'll pick it up automatically. Lower corridors is going to be another situation where we're doing pretty much the exact same thing in everything except trophy. You're just going a little bit out of the way. So it is going to be past the exit. So you're just going to grab that, and that's going to be the end of that. So let's go ahead and get over there. And get that. Cancel this as soon as possible. Cancel this. Melee the spider because it does give you a little bit of momentum. Cancel again, come down over here. Here's the book, and then you just leave the room. Again, that's going to be most of the books in Chapter 1. There's not a whole lot of crazy stuff. Chapter 1's pretty self-explanatory, pretty straightforward. Alright, In the cinema, it's pretty similar to pretty much everything we've been doing. It's just another kind of just go slightly out of your way to pick up another book. I gotta deal with a cutscene first. So I am on a brand new file. But so when we get to this cutscene, and like I said, you'll see what we're gonna do is basically instead of kind of getting to the gouge or going straight to the fireplace, we're gonna take a straight shot to the shelf over by the fireplace. That's gonna contain the book, and then we're gonna leave from there. So let's just get over there, and we'll be good to go. So yeah, you're gonna come down here, you'll see it right there. Get past the TV. And once again, as soon as you get the activation box first, you hear that sound, you've picked it up, you're good to go. You do not need to wait for the animation to finish, you do not need to wait for the number to go off screen. You can keep moving as soon as possible. Gaming room's gonna be a little out of the way, it is gonna kind of change the room a bit, but not too much. We're still gonna grab this to start. We're gonna go over here, we're gonna break everything on this table. What we're going to do is you get to see the book on screen. You're going to deal with the first, well, 3 books with this. You're going to grab the turbo. You're going to break the first 3. You're going to come over this play area, break this, grab the book. At this point, you're going to make your way back to the other one. Grab the TV. I have no idea where it is at. There you are. And there you go. So, basically break whichever of the 3 or 4, depending on what spawns. 1, 2, 3, and 4, depending. Grab the book, deal with the last one, and end the room. Basement is another obvious one. It's really not even out of the way, because you're going to walk right past it pretty much in any run that you do in this game. So we're going to grab this, grab turbo, and we're just going to make our way. Right before the mummy, there's going to be a coffin that's got the book sticking out of it. Like I said, the only real major difference is going to be Cellar. Everything else is going to kind of just be the same, not too much of an issue. So we're just going to head over. As soon as I come out of here, you'll see it right here. Grab that, and then deal with the mummy. Once we're done with the mummy, we can move on to Relic. Alright. Hand throw. You're giving it a little bit of distance when you do one of the strong attacks, so you can take advantage of that. Get that double hit while he's in the air to do the full 30 damage in 2 swings, and you're good to go. Relic is an interesting situation, because obviously this is a room where you don't have control of how it goes. And by that I mean you don't know which coffin it pops out of. You kinda gotta make sure you don't forget the book. But when you grab the book, it's gonna happen at the same time. It's just where once the challenge starts, are you gonna grab it? Because you don't want to grab it until after the challenge starts. Because ideally you'll see the book on screen there for half a second. Let's see how this goes. You are going to make this as miserable as possible, aren't you? Good thing this isn't an actual attempt. I would have probably... I would have definitely reset at this point. I don't like this room. But anyone that knows me knows my disdain for this room. It's just not great. Alright, there we go. So at this point, you're going to want to deal with the mummy in question that has spawned out. And because of my spawn location, I'm going to go grab the book first, and then go to the mummy that I normally go to, which is going to be back here. So grab the book, deal with that. Once once again, same strat here. You're going to want to just keep everybody, get everyone on the ground. And that's going to be that. So, the main thing here is just the book is right here. If you get one of the first, I'd say 3, I would make your way over to this, because this is going to be the first mummy. You're going to attack them first. Once you've dealt with that mummy, or confirmed, you'll want to make your way over to the book and this mummy if it spawns. And then once you clear the room, just get out of the room. So, that's that. YOA, or Olde Archives, as it's called, doesn't really have a whole lot going here. It's out of the way, but not really out of the way. It's going to be right by where you leave the room. It's just you're going to have to take a kind of a back. Instead of going straight to the door, you're basically going to turn around from the door, grab the book, and then head out from there. So, just, again, you got to get through some cutscenes, and then I'll show you guys where that's at. And then we'll head on to the last room, which has a fun little strat that I came up with. We'll get to that. Right now, I'm going to get through this. Alright. Alright. So once you get this taken care of, you're going to see the skeleton spawn out. That's going to be where we're leaving. The book's right over in that area. What you're going to do is grab the turtle. Grab the turtle. Rotate your camera and just hold your camera down, and then go from there. I hold down my left trigger to just rotate the camera the entire time, and then go from there. Now we're in the cellar, which is the last room of Chapter 1. What I'm about to show you needs to be done relatively quickly because it is somewhat tight on timing. There's an Oko can here. There's bottles there. The book is down this hallway. The door's over there. What we're going to do is we're going to combine the bottles, the Oko can, and the door. Grab this. Grab your Oko, or grab your bottles. You're going to come down here, you're going to ignore everything. Stay kind of this left-hand side here. You're going to see the book right here. You're going to grab that, and then you're going to head over. Once you get to about here, you're going to want to throw to activate the door. And then you're going to want to take like 1 or 2 steps, and then throw again. Thus picking up the book, killing the door. There's no backtracking needed. If you miss the book, and I'm just killing things here all the time at this point. Keep talking. If you miss the book or feel like you don't have the timing down to be able to grab the book, you can get to this point, throw, deal with the door first, and then double back to the book. Because once that icon on the bottom left hand starts flashing, that's when you know that you need to get the door activated and you need to get it killed. Because if not, you will have to deal with a full door and you will waste a bunch of time. So, if it's easier for you to ignore the book, come up to this point, throw, activate the book, take 2 steps, kill the book, or kill the door, sorry, activate the door, kill the door, and then double back to grab the book, that's going to be better for you rather than trying to do a full door fight. You're better off losing a little bit of time just having to backtrack here to grab the book, which is going to be in this corner, little cubby corner here. Better to do that, deal with the door, and then come back. What you don't want to do is get all the way up to the door, as we normally do, and then have to trek all the way back. So, just take advantage of that, and that's something that you can use in any run, is if you have a throwable in your hand and you know you have a door, you can throw at the door from range to activate the door. So, just something to kind of keep in mind. But, that being said, that's going to be all the books in Chapter 1. Like I said, nothing too crazy. Cellar's kind of got the coolest strat out of all of them. That being said, we're going to get to Chapter 2, and I will see you guys in the next one.